We'll formally open the regular meeting of the Lakeville Marine Commission, December 8th, 2020. If each of the commissioners who are in attendance will please state their name.
Commissioner Bryant, Patrick Bryant, present.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dave DiOrio, present.
Thank you.
Commissioner John Kilby, present.
Thank you.
Commissioner Moore is muted.
Okay. John Moore is present.
Thank you so much. We are all here in attendance and have a quorum then. Having had an opportunity to review the agenda, is there a motion to accept it as written, or are there any edits?
Commissioner Kilby, I'll make a motion that we accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bryant, I will second.
Thank you. All in favor, and I must ask each of you to cast your vote, please.
Commissioner DiOrio, aye.
John Moore, aye.
Patrick Bryant, aye.
John Kilby, aye.
Thank you. Then the agenda stands adopted as written. We'll move on to public comment. If there's anyone in the public who has joined us with Zoom, they are invited to speak on any non-agenda or consent agenda topics. Is there anyone who would like to speak from the public? Then I would assume we have no one who would like to, and we'll move on to item number 4, the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda as written?
Madam Mayor, Commissioner Bryant, I'd like to move that we approve the consent agenda as it is presented.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
John Moore will second it.
Thank you. May I hear a vote, please?
Kilby, aye.
DiOrio, aye.
Bryant, aye.
Moore, aye.
Thank you. Then the consent agenda stands adopted as written. We have no unfinished business, so we will move on to new business. The first item on our new business is to amend the late fee schedule. Dean, is that your bailiwick here?
Yes, I have to apologize. I have been on vacation and I do not have the copy of that paper with me to read it verbatim. It's coming up now, as you can see in your packet. Basically, what we discovered was a weekly motorized boat permit it was cheaper to get a daily permit for that week. So it went to the LAB to raise the daily permit to $60 a day. That would offset the fee that we were normally charging.
Okay.
So it'd be amending the late fee to increase $10 to the daily rate.
All right, does anyone have any questions of Mr. Gibbons? Then in that case, do I have a motion to amend the late fee schedule as recommended?
Kilby makes the motion, we amend the schedule as presented.
DiOrio seconds it.
All right, could I hear your vote, please?
Bryant.
Moore, aye.
Bryant,
aye.
Kilby, aye.
Thank you. Then we have, it passes unanimously. We'll move on to B then, the approval of the 2021 late commercial licenses. And I believe Mr. Gibbons, that is you again.
Yes. Okay. What you have before you, the application model was presented to the Lake Advisory Board last night. These are the commercial applications that I've received so far. They've been loaded into the model. The model did not show that there was it showed that there was plenty of room in the model for the boats that did apply. So it did not deny anybody, is what I'm trying to say. If you look on the left-hand side of the page, starting with the numbers there, M1, M2, those stand for motorized, yes. And if you go over to the center of the page where the blues and whites are, that's showing you the number of boats that each applicant has in their category. Blue actually highlights that they are in a concession agreement with the town. And so those numbers in some of those blocks you will see exceed what is allowed in the model. However, they are operating under a concession agreement that permits them to do so. If you go back to the left side of the page where the numbers are and go down to the second page, you'll see some green and yellow in the blocks there. The green are for new applicants for the year. Some of them may have came in last year, but they come in after the deadline. And the two yellow down there are applicants. The yellow is marking that they were late putting in their application this year, and they were assessed $100 late fee. In the kind of orange there, Lake Lure Boat Rental, this is Brian and Jenny Lale. They were a business that had got taken out of the model when we did a lot of rule changes. And to make things right, they went out and actually bought a new home with commercial land attached to it, and so that they could stay in business. Last year, you may remember that you guys approved them a livery boat for the commercial portion of property that they have. And this year they're asking for one more that commercial property has enough room to moor 2 boats there. So they're asking for a second boat, and it does fit into the commercial model. If you go on down to still staying on the left side of the page, you moved out the next section, you'll see the new applicants. The yellow then is highlighted as being late. And then the last section, starting with OB 54, all of those are the out of area businesses. And we have one new out of area business that is coming into the model this year. If you'll slide the model all the way over to the right, you can see the last 4 white columns. The first column, I added a section that will be coming up next year is proof of hour meters. And we will be going through those for all the ones that it's applicable to. That's part of our housekeeping. Before they can get their permit, we will have to be able to have proof that they've got their hour meters. If you'll scroll up to some of the other pages, you'll start seeing where we've got a couple going up a little further. There you go. You'll see some of them that I already have proof. Others are still getting them worked on and getting them done. And the next column shows the next column to the right shows the acre hours that applicant is using for the year or is projected to use. And one thing we'll be able to clarify it with next year is the next column over is total metered hours used last year. We don't have that data right now because these meters are just going in, but next year's model will be able to actually show you what each of these boats are using during the season. And the last column on the is, excuse me, it's how much that applicant is paying to be in the commercial model, counting their $45 permit fee. If you see their numbers in red, that means they were assessed a late fee of $100 because they did not meet the November 1st deadline. If you'll scroll down if you scroll down to where those columns end a little bit further, right there showing you in the last gray box on the right is showing you the income for the year of $146,610 is what we've generated through the commercial boat model this year. And if you go down below in the 2 little boxes, it's just showing you what we did with non-commercial revenues last year, or this year that we're in right now, is 384, 305. And the other blue box is commercial revenues for 2020 was 105, 170. Both of those numbers together, we made 489,475. That's just giving you an idea of how much money we are generating through the commercial model that's able to go back and take care of the lake. One other thing I've got, if you'll go to the far left side of the page and go to the bottom, go down a little further, hold it right there. That one right there with the yellow on it, those are applicants who did not return to the commercial model this year. Some of them may have sold out or whatever, but those are the ones who did not reapply. If you'll scroll down just a little bit further, a little more. Okay, that last little gray block down there, the lake impact calculator, it's showing you on the left side, it's showing you the current number of boats that we have sold permits for in those categories. And on the right side of it is showing you how many more are available. The available category, the second one under tours, Lake Lure Tours, as you guys know, it came before you guys a few months ago that they wanted to trade in a tour boat and get another livery boat. And that was granted. So that's left a tour boat in the model. And at last night's Lake Advisory Board meeting, their request was to take, they really feel like they don't want any more tour boats on the lake. So instead of leaving an availability on there, they have made a request to you guys, and I think Commissioner Kilby can talk a little bit on it also, was that they would like to move those tour boat hours to the vacation rental hours and leave them there. And I'm for questions.
I have a question, Dean.
Yes, sir.
Like at Lake Lure Tours, I know they're under a concession agreement, so we get the money from the boat permit, plus we get a percentage. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And that, who else does that apply to? Rum and Ball?
It does. Anybody that has a tour boat has to be under a concession agreement due to regulations that was put in place in the last couple of years. So they pay a premium price for the boat, which this year is going to be $3,000 for the boat. And then I believe it's a 15% concession fee for each rider or each ticket sale.
Okay, is that the only thing we get concessions on, like if the resort or Lake Lure Tours rents canoes or just livery boats? Do we get a concession on that?
Well, with Lake Lure Tours, we get a concession on everything they do. Any ticket sale they do on any boat that they do, we get a concession agreement on. With Rumble and Bald, they've got 2 tour boats, so they're under the concession that they pay the fee for the tour boat and they pay a ticket fee. They also have they also exceeded the allowable numbers for non-motorized. So there's a concession fee that they're paying their non-motorized also. And then this year, Lake Lure Adventure Company has asked for an additional livery boat, which would put them into a concession agreement because they're only allowed 4. They've asked for a 5th one, and now they're in a concession agreement with the town for that 5th boat. Not all of their boats, just the 5th boat.
Just the 5th boat, so they would be paying 15% of what they take in on the 5th boat, but not the others.
I think what we ended up working out with them was they would pay that boat was $1,500 last year. Instead of trying to count the ticket sales on just one of your 5 boats, I think the concession agreement was written that they would pay $4,500 for that additional boat without doing a ticket sale. Okay. So like this year coming up, they're going to pay $2,000 for 4 livery boats. And then that 5th one, they're paying $4,500 for that 5th boat.
Okay.
Dean, one question from me. So moving that tour boat over to vacation rentals, that goes up to about 19. I guess it's a 1-for-1, right? Or just move it over?
It would probably be close. You may get 2 out of it. I just have to actually play with the hours in the model to see how many move when I move the percentages.
But from the LAB's perspective, we're pretty much full on the non-vacation rental commercial side, with the exception of the fishing. But really, the livery and the tours is pretty much full, unless you come back to the Marine Commission, come back to us, and we trade perhaps vacation rentals for other commercial permits. Is that basically what you're seeing, what I'm seeing here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. But how many late vacation rentals do you think will come in? Do you think we're going to fill up those 18, or is that going to stay that way for a while?
I really don't think we're going to fill them up. It would really surprise me that we did, because there's a lot of people that for years, they've not been wanting to have a boat with them.
Yeah.
And like the Lales, Brian and Jenny Lale, I just spoke of on the other boat.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they do with their boats.
Yeah.
They send them out to these vacation rentals. The companies really like it because they don't have the hassle of having to rent boats and stuff.
Right. So they fill that niche gap. So you know what, big picture from me, this is great news. Here we raised the rates, right, significantly this year, and we just about filled the model. I mean, how does it get better than that, right?
Exactly.
Okay, thanks.
From my perspective, from the Lake Advisory meeting yesterday, there's a lot of discussion and debating back and forth on this. And I kind of requested that they make a recommendation to us. So they worked on it long enough to get all the details worked out. And Dean's covered everything else very thoroughly.
All right, are there any more questions or observations?
Yeah, Dean, I'll just make a real quick one about that that boat from Lake Lure Tours. By moving that boat to livery, the Lake Lure Tours end up paying a lot more in concession than they would. That boat, when it was a tour boat, sat idle, with the exception of some weekends. But as a livery boat, it was very successful this year. And then moving that other piece to the vacation model is going to help to benefit us even greater on a small scale. It's a small number, but it's still something in the right spot. So yeah, worked out great.
Exactly.
Moving up. Is there any other discussion? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the 2021 lake commercial licenses?
Can we make the motion that we approve the 2021 lake commercial license?
Diorio seconds.
May I hear your votes, please?
Kilby, aye.
Bryant,
More aye.
I keep hitting you, John. Sorry.
Diorio, aye.
Then the recommendation passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
And I believe that ends, if there's nothing else, we have completed our agenda. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Commissioner Bryan, I'll make the motion we adjourn until 5 o'clock meeting for regular town council.
Do I hear a second?
Moore will second that.
All right, may I hear the votes, please?
Kilby, aye.
Diorio, aye.
Moore aye.
Bryant, aye.
Then we stand adjourned until 5 o'clock for the town council meeting.